college, if they're troubled by questions relating to their role as Jews in a non-Jewish world, to be with them when they are ill, and also to comfort them in time of sickness, and to be their friend in time of any loss. In other words, a rabbi becomes a surrogate member of the family. He becomes a teacher and healer, in a way, and a source for research. If they need research, if they need a letter of recommendation, if they need a phone call to be made, the rabbi becomes the best friend possible to every member. The rabbi also needs to establish his role in the community. I was president of the North Carolina Rabbinical Association for many years, and I was president of the Altoona Clergy Association for almost 10 years, so that I was deeply involved with the non-Jewish community. I served in Germany as a chaplain. So therefore, I was a chaplain to all the veteran groups all my life. So therefore, I was called down to speak at public and civic occasions. And when I was in New Jersey, the mayor became my best friend. And every place the mayor went that was an important occasion, I would be along with him and make some opening remarks. And we became very close friends. So therefore, I always had a strong community role. I was a member of Rotary, so I met many people not of the Jewish faith. And as a chaplain, I became very friendly with Protestant and Catholic clergy, so that my best friends became ministers of other faiths. And we learned respect for each other. And I think that helped me reach out to people. And it made me feel that we're living here as a small minority, but that we should not look upon Christians as opposed to us. There's a new world where Christians and Jews have become very close friends. Years ago, Jews and Muslims were very close friends. Today, there are problems because connected with Israel and the war that America is waging now in Iraq. But we hope that in Spain for 400 years, Jews and Muslims were like the closest buddies, that somehow these religions call Abraham their father. Muslim, Christian religion called Abraham their father, just like Jews do. So we hope that religion will be a source. My doctorate says religion is a source for happiness. So it shouldn't be just happiness for the individual. It is my hope that religion will be a source of happiness for the entire community, so the three religions will always get along well together. And that's how I've dedicated my rabbinic ministry. Scholarship, to think right, to feel right, and to act right. And my basic philosophy for my doctorate is that the Bible tells us one of the greatest commandments, and I mentioned that to the bar mitzvah, as in 26:11 in the book of Deuteronomy, it says it's a mitzvah, means it's a good deed, a commandment, to always be happy. Even in times of adversity, your mind should be able to say, first of all, that there are some mitigating circumstances. There are some ways we can deal even with a sad occasion. And that you should see the positive side. You should be able to think happy thoughts, feel happy thoughts, and in addition, finally, to do good things, but in addition to being happy yourself, the command along with it is you should dedicate your life to making others happy as well. That I see as the mission of Judaism and religion. And we hope that that is based on the 10 Commandments and the love commandments. And we hope that other religions, these commandments, the 10 Commandments and the love commandments, are also in the Christian Bible. Part of them are in the Muslim Bible. We hope that religion will truly be a force for not only individual happiness, for making the world a better and kinder place.
Start over.
We were originally...
Wait.
What part? Tell us a little bit about your life in Cleveland, where you were born.
I was young, and my father was a rabbi of a big synagogue, but there was poverty time. There was great poverty at that time, depression. And it was difficult for my father to support 7 children. Our synagogue, he broadened his outlooks. He became the city and state supervisor for kosher product, which supplemented his small rabbinic salary.
Which synagogue was he affiliated with?
He was affiliated with the most religious synagogue in Cleveland.
And what was that?
Called the Shomer Shabbat, the strict observers of the Sabbath synagogue.
And where was that located?
It was located on 105th Street, off of Bryant Avenue. And there was a lot of competition, 10 Orthodox synagogues right on top of each other, and it was almost like a war zone, I think, when I was growing up here. And I stood at the age of 4 with a tallis on my shoulders in front of the mirror, singing all the hymns of the holidays, and said, how lovely to be a cantor. Came to the synagogue and started singing with the cantor, got ahead of him by about 6 bars. What happened was the cantor started following me. I was leading him into a no man's land. When he reached, he was trying to follow and straining himself. When he reached, he could no longer continue. He let out the most agonizing sound and said, I'm starting all over. And he said to me, Moshe Berger, I know you want to help, but please sing where only you can hear yourself. Because if this happens again, you'll destroy me as a cantor. That was my 5-year-old experience with the cantor in my father's synagogue.
Did you ever move into like the Cleveland Heights area?
We moved into the Cleveland Heights.
And what street did you live on?
We lived on Euclid Heights Boulevard. Are you a Clevelander?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know too much already.
You know where Taylor Road is?
Taylor Road is right in Euclid Heights and Taylor Road.
That's
where
right.
my father had his own Berger family synagogue, but it was called Love of Israel because the Shomer Shabbat Shul had so many factions. When I was 5 years old, I would hear members coming to me and saying the criticism that they didn't have the nerve to tell my father. They gave me as if I was the rabbi. And I felt, well, every rabbi, like if you run for office of the President of the United States, you know, if you get 55% of the vote, you're doing good. If you get 60%, they say it's impossible. You got 40% are criticizing you all the time. So that's the way I figured the rabbinate was. And so at the age of 5, all I heard from people who had criticism of my father. It took that for a long time. After a while, he improved. My father started investing a little bit. He became very independent and said, he wished them well and said it's time to establish his own synagogue. And it wasn't named Love of God or the Gates to Heaven. It was named Ahavas Yisrael, the love of Israel, that the greatest commandment, and especially for religious people who feel that their main thing is loving God and being in a relationship that is good with God. My father said, before that, before you can express your love for God, God's an ideal, you don't see him, you don't hear him. The people only heard him for 1 minute on Mount Sinai. You don't hear God. That your first test is, do you love other people? Can you love people that even disagree with you a little bit? So the synagogue was dedicated, and the title of the books that my father wrote were called Ahavas Yisrael,